Think of a song you've heard 100 times. Now imagine someone plays it, but stops right before the last note. Something happens in your brain. A pull, an itch, a physical need to finish what was started. You can't let it go. That feeling has a name. And once you understand what's behind it, you'll realize something deeply unsettling about how your brain has been controlling you your entire life without you knowing. In the 1920s, a psychology student named Bluma Zygarnik was sitting in a Vienna cafe when she noticed something that should not have been possible. The waiters could remember every detail of an order they hadn't delivered yet. Every modification, every special request, every table number. Perfect recall. But the moment the food hit the table, the moment the order was complete, it vanished from their memory entirely. Gone, like it never existed. She couldn't explain it, so she went back to her lab and tested it. She gave people a series of tasks. Some she let them finish, others she interrupted halfway through. Then she asked them what they remembered. The interrupted tasks were remembered almost twice as well as the completed ones. Not because they were harder, not because they were more interesting, simply because they were unfinished. And what that means for your brain is something nobody warned you about. Your brain treats every unfinished task as an open file, a process still running in the background. And open files consume resources, attention, memory, mental energy, until they are closed. A completed task gets filed away. Done. No longer requires processing. An unfinished task stays active. The brain keeps returning to it, checking on it, pulling your attention back to it whether you want it to or not. This is not a flaw in your brain. It is a feature, and it gets darker. For most of human history, leaving things unfinished was deadly. An unfinished shelter meant exposure. An unfinished hunt meant starvation. The brain that kept nagging you about incomplete tasks was the brain that kept you alive. The problem is that your brain cannot tell the difference between an unfinished shelter and an unfinished email. It treats both with the same urgent insistence. Finish this. Close this loop. This is still open, which is why you lie awake at night thinking about the text you never replied to, the conversation that ended strangely, the project you started 3 months ago and haven't touched since. Your brain is not being irrational. It is executing a survival program that is thousands of years old in a world that no longer needs it. But here is the part that should make you uncomfortable. The Zygarnik effect doesn't just apply to tasks. It applies to stories. And someone figured out how to weaponize it against you. Every time a film cuts to a cliffhanger, every time a chapter ends on an unresolved question, every time someone says, "We need to talk," and then walks away, your brain opens a file, and it will not close that file until it has a resolution. This is why you binge watch entire series at 2 a.m. telling yourself just one more episode. Not because you lack willpower, because your brain has 12 open files and it is physically uncomfortable until they are closed. The entertainment industry figured this out decades ago. Every episode ending on a question. Every season finale leaving the most important thing unresolved. Every autoplay starting the next episode before you've had a second to think. They are not giving your brain time to close the file. They are keeping it permanently open on purpose. And your brain, desperate for resolution, keeps consuming. But the deepest layer of this is something researchers didn't find until much later. The Zygarnik effect is strongest not for tasks you don't care about, but for tasks that are tied to your identity. The unfinished novel you started 4 years ago haunts you more than the unfinished grocery list because part of your self-image is wrapped up in it. I am the kind of person who writes. I am the kind of person who finishes things. The open file isn't just a task. It's a question about who you are, and your brain will not stop asking it until you answer it, which means most of your mental exhaustion has nothing to do with what you actually did today. It comes from everything you didn't finish. Every open loop, every half-started project, every conversation left unresolved, every version of yourself you promised to become but haven't yet. The brain that ancient humans used to track unfinished hunts is now tracking your unopened emails, your unanswered messages, and every promise you made to yourself and quietly abandoned. It cannot prioritize. It cannot decide which loops matter. It just keeps them all open, all of them running, all of them waiting. And somewhere underneath everything you do, underneath every conversation, every moment of rest, every attempt to simply be present, your brain is quietly running through the list. Not done, not done, not done. The waiter in the Vienna Café forgot the order the moment it was delivered. The moment it was complete, it ceased to exist for him. Think about what that means. The only things your brain is holding on to right now, the only things it hasn't let go of, are the ones you never finished. Everything you completed is already gone. Everything you haven't is still here. And it will stay here until you do something about it, or until you don't.